And this time we're going to try
Wait,
and
they
stay
do?
on topic. And we're also doodling while doing this because, nothing says
We
stay
are
on
going to
topic
fail.
like doing some random drawings.
It's, wait, come on, words, I can do it. Okay, so, I was gonna say, wait, we're talking about what?
I don't know if this is actually recording because I have...
It is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's recording.
Okay.
Or it's live.
Oh yeah, that is one hell of an echo.
Let me...
It's like, wait, what are we talking about? Black Lives Matter. Wait, they do? No, I'm kidding, I'm
Wow.
kidding, I'm
Okay.
kidding, I'm kidding. I am kidding.
You're gonna get us in trouble.
It's like, no, I'm black. Don't hurt anybody
Yeah,
here.
she's the only one that can say anything that she wants. The rest of us
Exactly.
can't.
I feel oppressed.
Whoa.
Bruh.
Okay, so...
Okay, what is it? Oh, dummy me. Okay, I get it. I get what this is. This is supposed to be now. Okay, I'm a dummy. All right, we can continue.
For some reason, when I'm drawing, it just seems to... I haven't used this software before. So, I'm not used to it just drawing like that.
I'm still searching a couple of things that I want to draw. Just looking up references.
Okay.
Well, there's not exactly layers to this, so...
Yes,
oh,
there
there are
You
layers.
can make layers.
Ah.
Huh.
But
Huh.
yes, let's
This is
talk
gonna be
about-
interesting.
So, what is people's thoughts on Black Lives Matter? Let's just get initial thoughts out of the way.
Well, who first?
I'll start.
Whoever wants to go first. My feelings are conflicted on this topic, so...
More than fair.
Yeah, mine too.
My thoughts on Black Lives
You're the
Matter.
authority on black people, Ryuka. You can go first.
I will say, let's see. What I do kind of personally, I kind of separate the two things where, okay, Black Lives Matter, it's like well, no, duh, of course they matter, like, they're human like everybody else. Of course, black people matter, duh. But, and then there's a organization, the movement of Black Lives Matter, where they have, how to explain it, a good idea, but they are executing things horribly. Like, what you shouldn't do to try to help inform people and change their minds. How to explain it? I'm just like my head is all over the place. Like I know it all started back in like 2016 when things got kind of heated, and it was that point where there was a protest going on in Texas, and if I remember correctly, 2 cops were gunned down, from the people in the movement, and I'm like, well, it's kind of beneficial, but it's more official now. I don't think no one's lives really matter, even in the, ironically, it doesn't. Like, apparently, I guess going off and burning down black-owned businesses and other things like that, I guess that's, well, remember, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, you sure? Because you kind of burned down their business there. Black Lives Matter. Most of the time, statistically speaking, African Americans are the most aborted. Different subject altogether. And then, Black Lives Matter. I'm like, oh, really? Then why is it? Here's my genuine question: why is it that African American women, they die more often in childbirth? Why is that? Like, I actually don't get it. So, and then even just hearing some other stories of like, hey, like I'm having pain, I'm having this, I'm having that, and the doctors or surgeons, they just think that they're just being theatrical and being crazy, but it turns out like, nah, it's real. Like, they just didn't bother paying attention, which is sad. So
how does everyone specifically feel about the whole George Floyd thing.
Plenty of. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, someone else can start.
I'll go.
I think I'll start with George Floyd, because that one, that one's definitely a bit more low than people think. I've actually been following the story pretty closely, and I think I read somewhere that the cop that held his knee on him and George Floyd, they apparently knew each other from when the cop was a bouncer. So this may have just been a personal issue, which is still, complete abuse of power, and I'm glad the cop is, being fired, sued, and divorced. This just goes to show you that people really should have been more patient with this. Let's not forget that, George Floyd was a convicted felon before this, and had a warrant during that entire debacle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But still,
Oh,
that was very messed up what happened, and
Oh yeah, it was horrible. It was abuse of power, but it may not have been a racist issue. It may have just been a personal issue. Still bring up on that portion of the story, though.
yeah, that is a good question. I guess one thought I had was, do you think if it wasn't for the BLM protest, do you think that the officers in question would have gotten as harsh of punishments, like not just the one who did it, but the others that just stood by and watched?
The protesters themselves, no, because even without those, he was still all over social media. She would have had to happen.
Yeah, like since it was plastered all over social media, yeah, hardcore, like it would motivate the department to do a punishment swifter. So let's see. Are you still going on with your opinions, or can I hop in or no?
I'm actually
Okay.
I'm just not, personally, I'm not sure what to think on this. This is one of the reasons why I've waited so long to talk on it, is because I feel like I don't fully understand the situation. That's one of the reasons for this particular topic. I figured I'd do a live stream because I was pretty sure people wanted my opinion, but I just didn't have as much of an opinion to share as I do for a lot of other topics, because I'm not super well informed.
Fair. Okay, so like we can all obviously agree that the whole situation was, completely messed up, and yeah, it was completely, wrong of the cop to do. Like everyone can get on board on that.
yeah.
So let's see, like, and then I know, like, I get it, he was convicted before, but it's just the fact that, like, even though he was, like, suspected of counterfeiting, is it worth getting killed or, dying by asphyxiation for?
Definitely not.
Exactly. So, like, it's just, whatchamacallit, I don't know if complacency is the right word, but, like, yeah, sure, like, he might have committed a crime, but it definitely did not call for, holding him down by the neck with your knee, and apparently, like, I've learned, I could be wrong, but I think that technique is not taught in the academy, so, the teachings, like the academy and basically the department, they won't be held accountable for that. Hopefully they won't be hemmed up for, abusive teaching, but of course they're gonna get hemmed up of, oh, you guys need to do better training, yada yada yada. But
Yeah, it's they don't teach that type of hold and takedown. Once they're down, you're supposed to go for like a fucking sort of arm bar on them,
like, it's
or
an
put
arm
your
bar
knee on their lower back.
I was gonna say, like, either like on their shoulders or their back, something, but definitely not on the neck, since everybody kind of knows, like, putting all of your weight on your knee on somebody's neck, that could crush something, and make the person not alive.
Well, the thing is, the neck hold he was using is actually taught in the police department. The issue is he was misusing it.
Okay.
Because
But yeah. Oh, sorry, you go.
Because when you're using your weight like that to hold someone down, you're actually supposed to be putting your weight on their shoulder blade to hold them down, not on their neck.
Right. Like I knew like nobody teaches the cops to put some kind of a hold or pin on their neck.
Yeah.
Like even like I know this is a little different. Even in the combatives training that I've received for security forces, yeah, definitely like the pinning on the neck. Yeah, that's not taught whatsoever. Like they know good and well like what limits that they can do, like what to do. They tell you where to hit, where to aim. They're trying to make it to where like you were aiming for this, like you were trying to hit that, and if you hit something else, it's like, well, they moved. Things happen in combat.
Yeah.
Like everybody moves.
For most defense, for at least getting somebody to not be trying to fight against you, you're generally supposed to just aim for pressure points to incapacitate them, not really injure them.
Right. No, that the main thing is just incapacitation, making them to where they don't like move or like put up resistance or fight, but obviously not kill them.
Yeah, kill or injure them.
Yeah, like I know it's taught in police departments and pretty much I think any other law enforcement job where like basically killing, like if you have to kill the person, it is like you exhausted like all the other non-lethal options. Because most I could be wrong, but I think like most of the time when officers get into a scenario, they really don't want to draw their weapon. Like they do not want to draw their guns. Like they want to resolve things as peacefully as they can.
Yeah, that is supposed to be the absolute last resort you go to.
Yeah. Like I know I'm trained where like yeah, that is like the last thing, like there's nothing else that I could have done. Kind of option.
One thought I have had with the whole thing is, do you guys think there would be nearly as much outcry if everything else the same, but George Floyd was white? Do you think that there'd be... I think there'd still be outcry, but I don't think we would have had, like, protests in the street and things.
No,
Maybe,
I
I
don't
could
think
be
so.
wrong. Maybe the
No
local
one would
area
care
would
about it.
happen.
I would agree with that. Like, yeah, there would be some kind of outrage, but not to the point of protests and riots and all that stuff. And I kind of feel like it was kind of fueled up. It was already pent up rage, like, and that was like the straw or the pin or whatever that broke the camel's back. Where like, because not too long ago there was that one guy, like, yeah, he was convicted of like burglary before, but I guess the one time he wasn't doing anything. He got gunned down, by the two guys that hopped into their pickup truck and then got killed by a shotgun. But I think that's one of the fuels of the fire. Like that's when it just kind of happened, like with pent up rage, and then the whole George Floyd situation. It just that was the last straw. That was it, and yeah, everything just exploded.
There's one
Don't
thing that
forget
always
about
bugs
that.
me. It's the fact that they're not trying to stop police brutality. They're trying to stop police brutality towards black people. And it's like everyone likes to ignore that police brutality happens to basically everyone. It's just a bad thing altogether.
Yeah.
I guess that's one thing I've always found really odd about the Black Lives versus All Lives Matter thing is that they're essentially saying very similar things, but then somehow there's this thing where rather than working together, it's all against each other, because at this point, I don't really care whose lives matter. Can we just get something done if there's an issue?
Oh, yeah.
And I actually want to kind of keep up to date, like, with this situation with Breonna Taylor. I really want to know how that's going to go, because I heard rumors where, like, when they were trying to figure out the verdict or the case, in a courtroom, they started boarding up their courthouse. So I'm just kind of like, this is probably not a good conviction. They're like, it's fine. We'll just slap you on the wrist and you guys can go free. I'm like, oh.
Is that the one that got killed in her house?
Yeah, she was in her apartment along with her boyfriend. She was an EMT.
Yeah.
And she was sleeping, and the police raided the wrong apartment and shot her 8 times.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That is not. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, if she does not get justice, okay, like, you start to understand why people are saying there's systemic racism here. Like, how do I explain it?
I read about that
Right.
case. Basically, what happened was the police were in non-police outfits, I guess, because they were undercover. I forgot what the term was for that.
If you're undercover, shouldn't you have more of an understanding of the thing you're going into?
But yeah, they were in civilian clothing. They were in civilian clothing, and they didn't do their cop knock because they didn't. You know how normally cops will just like sound like they're breaking your door down when they're knocking.
FBI, open up!
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they didn't do any of that because they said they didn't want the person to flee who they were after when that person was already arrested, and they just walked in without knocking. From what I understand, was it her boyfriend or her brother that was there? Because I thought it was her brother.
Her boyfriend.
Was it her boyfriend?
Boyfriend, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
her boyfriend is
Okay,
not
so
like
her boyfriend was there, and he was still awake, and he saw people busting in his door, so he shot at them, and then they riddled the apartment with bullets, is from what I understand.
Yeah, he was, well, like any other kind of logical person would do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he was trying to defend himself. Like, dude, these people just stormed my house, and, they're trying to kill me, with the weapons.
Yeah,
So-
no-knock warrants are bullshit, especially in states where gun ownership is actually legal. Because that's how shit like this happens.
I know over that case, the state banned police from being able to do the no-knock entries.
There does seem, on the highlight of this, there does seem like there is some necessary changes going on with the police force that should have probably been addressed quite some time ago.
Some things, yeah, should have been addressed in other things. Like, other executions that they're doing is really bad, like the whole defunding of police. And, even, like, with that, yeah, something interesting about that, actually. I can probably get into it, unless if we're...
No, let's
Yeah,
not
I
get
say that's
into
on
it.
topic. Plus, I
It's
got
nice
the-
Okay.
we're actually doing a stream where we're staying on topic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole thing with the whole defund the police thing. So where I'm at, like, I deal with the LAPD, right? So it was kind of funny. I was at a I don't know if you guys have a Blaze Pizza or something. I think that's what it's called. It's kind of like a Chipotle thing, but not for burritos, but for pizzas. They're really delicious. You can customize your pizzas. But anyways, so I was there, trying to pick up food for myself and, my coworker. And and then a bunch of police came in for their lunch break. And yeah, we were just talking to each other. Like, I was in uniform. We were talking to each other, like, kind of learning about what's going on each other's end. And he said, oh yeah, the whole defunding the police thing. Yeah, that was already in the works since April because of the COVID-19 thing. So, yeah, as that's going on, and they're just kind of running with the story of, they're defunding the police just to, calm down, the crowds. That's what they're, basically doing. Hey, don't shoot my puppy. So yeah, the whole defunding of the police thing for LAPD, that was already in the works. So, and also the whole defunding thing happens all the time. 1 year would be good for them, 1 year would be bad for them. Like, funding has to be put in somewhere else. or something, things of that nature. So, I don't know if it would apply to the other police departments, but for the LAPD, like the whole defunding thing, it happens like all the time. Either it's a good year or a bad year kind of thing for them. So,
Well,
yeah,
what up
for
with the LAPD?
Right, I mean, that's just normal shit that happens in any type of office, budget shifting year to year.
yeah,
When people say defund the police, I'm usually thinking they mean, defund.
like to the point where they can't run anymore. So it's
Yeah, to the point where they can't run. I'm against it. Now, I'm all for, actually, redistributing the money they have, because I'm against militarized police. I understand SWAT teams, because there are cases where you need, heavy artillery, but normal beat cops should not have access to fucking armored cars.
I see. I see what you're getting at. Oh, okay.
Yeah, defund it. Give them better training too, because
Yeah, they definitely
some
do.
need it. Some really
There's some parts of training. Yeah, they do kind of have to update on, like, oh, so yeah, even when I was activated, and an army officer was kind of telling us kind of like a rules of engagement thing, and he told us like hey, do you guys shoot in a crowd? And we're all like, no. And he's just like, yeah, you can imagine, that's kind of where the struggle is, with the cops. Just shooting in the crowd, to try to disperse it,
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, that's bad. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's right. And something people really forget during this issue is that cops are kind of trained to treat everyone as a potential threat.
Yeah,
And
that
in
is
some
the other
areas,
thing.
That is pretty correct. And it's horrible. They have to deal with that, but
Yeah, the other unfortunate thing is, also that most of the people, either they just don't think from a police perspective, or they try to empathize, try to see from their point of view, or they either don't care, or they refuse to learn about like their perspective, their side of things, because they probably dealt with an incident not too long ago where the person went from a 0 to 100 in seconds, and they had to really put a quick stop to it, either like by pinning him down or something, or even a taser. So, and one of the things that was taught to me a little bit was basically nonverbals, they speak more than when people talk verbally. Like, you talk to somebody and you're like, oh, hey, are you okay? Like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. But you see them, like, shifting their eyes and tensing up, so you can see in reality, like, something's not right. So whenever somebody's kind of erratic with their movements, or, like, kind of being a little shifty, putting their hands in their pocket, especially when they put hands in their pockets, you kind of think, like, oh, are they grabbing a knife? Or a syringe or something. So, like, there are, another good one was cops just trying to learn from the past. Like, say, there was a clip that I found on Twitter. I can't remember how long ago it was. I think it was last week, where the police got a report of, hey, we got some suspicious activity, and that was pretty much all that they were able to go on. Just, there's suspicious activity of somebody walking around, and they randomly found this black guy wandering around. I think he said he was waiting for his ride, but he was, he was upset. You could tell he was upset. He was crazy and all, but he was just upset, flailing around, and then a cop snuck up behind him and just suplexed him, just body slammed him. And then it turns out, like, dude, that's not the right guy. That's that's not the dude, that has a warrant on him. And he's just like, oh crap.
Cops are a little jumpy. I
oh
remember
fuck, here comes the paperwork.
Yeah, I'm just like, you're probably gonna be fired. And yeah, the worst part is, the black guy and all the other cops, they're white. And it's just like, oh no. Oh no.
Cops don't get fired. That does bring up the issue that we need to, take down
Either
to remove internal affairs from the local office.
okay, I wonder about their internal affairs because sometimes there are times I'm like, I don't think they're doing their job. Like, here's what they're supposed to do, but they're not really doing it. You know? I'm like, okay, don't be lazy. You're gonna have more of these, craziness. The cops going crazy happen. Please get to work.
One of the
And
problems. One of the problems with trying to weed out the police force, though, is that a lot of very violent individuals try and become cops. It's kind of like an excuse for such things. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that happens to the military as well, but for the police force, it seems to be even worse, because if you actually... I have a thing for serial killers. Well, not like that kind of thing, but I like to study them. You'd be amazed how many serial killers either got into the police force reserves, or tried to get into the police force. It's very strange, actually.
Well,
and yeah, either police force or military, mainly army.
a big issue on that is the simple fact that the police force will literally look for people who are more aggressive.
Yeah,
Well,
they
be
got
more
that
assertive
bad.
and yeah, they're kind of trying to look for people that are more assertive, like are willing to like make that split-second decision and just do things. That's what they're pretty much looking for. They don't want somebody that's passive and laid back. They want somebody that just goes for it. And yeah, it's either really good or really bad. It goes both ways with that one. I still think they're learning from the past where, they would hear descriptions of somebody and they would find the person, they would try to ask questions, but, the person doesn't want anything to do with them. They're just like, no, leave me alone, get away from me. Then the cops, they leave them alone and, not too long later, they kill somebody. So... yeah, the cops are just trying, and of course, oh, why didn't you do anything? You had him in your custody. So, yeah, I think the cops are just trying to avoid that from happening again. But yeah, it's iffy with that.
One of the things that I know is a Black Lives Matter goal is the whole stop mass incarceration, especially for black people. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Oh, it's a little iffy.
Drugs, and we won't have the issue.
I was gonna say there are a few factors that contribute. For one thing, yeah, sure, more violent crimes are committed, but at the same time, I'm thinking like how to explain it. I will say I get more looks from people. And they wonder if I'm about to do something. Like, oh, here's this crazy black chick doing something. So, like...
So that bias
yeah, there's more eyes on
is
me.
an actual thing. I've never walked
Is
around
it-
being black, so I wouldn't know.
Cause, yeah, like, I've had people, look at me before, try to think, like, is she gonna go, full-on crazy black chick or something? And I'm like, no! Like, until, like, and then when they finally, like, talk to me or something, and then they start to kind of ease up a little bit. But it's just the fact of, like, oh, she's probably going to do something. I still have yet to get pulled over by cops. Apparently, we get pulled over more often, but I haven't had that happen to me, personally, yet.
I like that old Chris Rock skit about that. That was pretty funny. How to not be harassed by police when you're black.
Don't do crimes.
Yeah, follow the law, obey the
Don't do
law.
crimes. Get a white friend. Go the speed limit.
Yeah,
Don't
go to the
insult
speed limit,
cops
that's
once
okay.
you've been stopped.
Wait, we're not supposed to do that?
No, I know. I mean,
Don't bring a black
I mean,
chick
I'm
who hates
mostly
you.
white. I would subscribe to that too.
Oh, he carrying crack on him.
Oh, he got weed.
He got weed. He got weed.
Oh, he
See,
got
and
weed!
that is why, if you're
That
gonna carry shit,
skit
you
was
come a vacuum.
hilarious.
It's not hard. You can get those things at the fucking drugstore.
Yeah.
Not that I would know anything about vacuum sealing narcotics, TSA agent that I know watches me.
Oh my. Goodness.
But you would say there is racial bias in this country, then.
Yeah, there is. There definitely is.
I've kind of wondered on that whole idea. Like, a lot of people, I always hear that that it's just simple racism that's existed forever that we're all dealing with and stuff. Like, that's where the racial bias comes from. I've been thinking on the idea, could it possibly be a lot of the things that we find several black people doing unreasonably, and then like them having a big whole group going behind them saying, yeah, he was justified in this even though he wasn't, and that just makes people a little more hesitant with interacting with someone like that because they could possibly get in trouble in the same way? Like, do you think it could be that?
Basically, I think he's trying to ask if current behaviors and attitudes further perpetuate this stereotype rather than helping it.
Yes, exactly that. Is that, like, because I've been thinking about that lately. Because I've heard some people say that like, I've heard some black folks saying that they have white friends and they've been cool for years and stuff, but then, you know, as things start to escalate in the U.S., then acting kind of becomes a little, or the whole interaction becomes a little different.
I would say current
Interesting.
racial tensions is really bad lately. I don't know if it's worse than it used to be or not.
Let's see, for me, I will say, with some of my friends, some of them, they don't know exactly, like, what to think or say. Like, I'm not saying that they're being ignorant, they're just not educated. I hate saying that. Like, in the kind of context, like, oh, they're not aware, they're not completely educated on, like, what goes on, I guess, in our daily lives, and they feel like, you know, they don't have a say in things, in a sense. Sure, there are a few parts where it's like, yeah, we experienced this, and yeah, you don't. So, but other than that, like, I can see where, yeah, they're not trying to be complacent. It's more of like it is not my place to say.
That's
Yeah,
how
like
I'm
with-
kind of feeling about this whole situation is I'm not 100% sure on what my opinions are because, like I said, it seems like a bit more of a tricky topic than a lot of others.
I see. That makes sense.
I know what to say
Like-
about feminism and stuff because I'm a woman, so I know the experience of womanness, but I don't know how to experience
Yes.
being black because I'm not black.
Mm-hmm.
Shoe polish.
Shit.
I don't think we're trying to go for blackface here.
Yeah, I think that would
Like,
give me an even
don't-
bigger trouble. Thank you very much.
I was gonna say, I'm like, if they try to go in blackface, they're gonna get shot. I'm sorry.
Hey, if I
Not
had
by
Mick
me.
Jagger lips, I could probably pull it off. No one would know.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Oh, and I heard somewhere today where the Golden Girls, an old show, you know, that Betty White is in. Apparently, they took off one episode because they're like, some person said, like, oh, they're doing blackface, but in reality, they're using a mud mask, you know, for skincare. I'm just like, okay, you guys are reading way in between the lines. I'm like, dude, they're just doing skincare stuff at, you know.
You know,
Man, if I can't even do a fucking mud mask without being called racist, this country is going downhill.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
you want to
Yeah,
know
I'm
what's
just like-
gonna end racism nowadays? You want to know what's gonna end it all perfectly? The cancellation
The
of
whites
Paw
and the blacks
Patrol,
killing
that's
each
it.
other, so my people can reclaim our
Paw
land.
Patrol, apparently, yeah. Apparently, cancel Paw Patrol and cancel Live PD, cancel all the cop shows, and booyah.
Isn't
Got
there,
it.
like, a lot of black cops, though? Like, isn't that a...
Yes.
That's so weird.
Well,
Like,
it depends
why?
on the area. If an area has a lot of black people, they're going to get a lot of black cops. If there are a lot of black people, you're not going to get a lot of black cops.
Oh, yeah, there are.
You know, that's just how things
I will say,
work.
Black Lives Matter shift their opinion. They're not consistent. because they say, you know, oh, like all white cops, you know, they're bad and this and that, and then not too long later, a black cop, you know, arrests, you know, a black person because they were doing something illegal. I can't remember what it was, and then all of a sudden they're like, all cops are bad, and I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like I said, they're also not consistent with opinions and things. So.
I don't really approve of all the cop hate that's going on with this whole thing. Not saying the cops are perfect, but we kind of need them. They're a bit of a necessity.
They are needed. It's just the issue is some of the people, they don't appreciate authority in general. So when they are told no, you can't do that. So
I'm
that's
probably
the
one of
issue.
More hardcore libertarians in this chat, and even I recognize the need for cops. Like, you know, we need branch of the more. I still saying, you know, local government prefers sheriffs over military police. You know, we still need a branch to just help keep the peace, because the people are stupid, and if Chaz showed us anything, they cannot keep the peace themselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Whatchamacallit, 'cause I'm like, well, for militarized police, quote unquote, I'm like, well, they activate the guard, so there's that. Like, we are meant to do, like, both federal and state stuff. Like I said, I was activated, you know, for state stuff, you know, helping the police force. Both, you know, LAPD and sheriffs, you know, of what they need to do, and yeah, they're just like, you know, thank you, since we're all stretched, you know, really thin in things. So, yeah, that's what Guard is really good for. Doing both state and federal stuff, like we do deploy and everything in other countries around the world. But, yeah, we also participate in whatever is going on state-wise, either with riots or, like, some natural disaster is going on. Yeah, Guard is good for helping to, basically helping in those situations, giving people resources and the means.
And we can all tell who's most comfortable with this software. This is my first time using it, that's why mine's like a sketchy mess.
I'm a mess too, it's all good.
How I draw. I like the.
Although I will say, this one right here is like, that's good stuff. Good job.
That would be Kaizen.
Yeah, I'm drawing Sweet JP from Redline.
That movie's great.
Although to backtrack slightly, for the shows getting canceled and such like that, to my understanding, those are more of the toxic Black Lives Matter who are just trying to hijack the movement for their own causes.
Yeah, fuck those people. 'Cause I fucking love Cops. That was a great show. I love watching stupid people being stupid and getting
arrested for it.
Yeah, and getting arrested for it. Yeah, those are like one of the most entertaining arrests.
Hopefully getting shot.
Yeah, no, right. Here's the thing: is everyone's defending like the black drug dealer, like, you know what I mean? Like the really but you know, they're like, well, you shouldn't judge. We don't know what their life is like, but yet everybody still makes fun of rednecks. Is that a bit of a double standard? Like,
no,
everybody's favorite episodes of Cops is when it's like, my wife's been beating me. Well, that's because you ain't giving me drugs.
It's because you keep on getting my dinner wrong, Sharon.
Like, Cletus, you get back here.
I called the cops on him because he stole my crack.
He's like, but
yeah,
look,
you keep taking.
She hit me.
You keep on taking my crack and my chew. How dare you? And oh yeah, another thing with rednecks. Some of them are cool. Some of them are actually racist. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
I have met both spectrums.
They've just been eating too much possum meat. You know, it's gotten to their heads.
I guess so.
Though, you know what we might be missing out? Someday we will learn that possum is absolutely delicious, and we're like, oh.
It's actually not.
I have not tried it. Only my father has, and he said that it's fine.
It's good,
Possum's better than raccoon.
Huh. I don't really want to eat a trash panda. and I'm not a vegetarian.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I could eat a raccoon. Just only because they're a really smart creature.
They are.
They are
I
my
just
mortal
think they're
enemy.
too cute.
Look on your screen.
Looks great.
Because I do not trust my screen.
Your picture looks so much better than mine because I don't know how to use this software.
I don't know. I've only used this
Yeah,
software
no, not a
once
fan of being
before.
spite. I would, however, eat a dolphin, but only out of spite, because they're rapists.
Oh,
Not
what?
all
They
of them
took
are.
that one chick. Yeah, that one dolphin that humped that one chick like crazy.
No, dolphins are like people where some of them are good, some of them are bad. They actually form rape gangs, but they also form their own like little police gangs. They're really odd creatures because they're just so human.
They
Fair.
have the good and bad sides.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You gotta
Definitely.
But would
Fine,
you-
fine. I'll only make sure that when I
The
eat a
dolphin that'll
dolphin,
bring you
I'll
coffee
track
and
it
a
first to
towel
make
and like
sure it's
ask
an
you,
asshole first.
you know, what all the details were and ask if they can help out.
Yes. How can we make your sea experience better?
Yes.
Yeah, imagine just, the fucking dolphin cops asking the a shark that was raped, what they were wearing.
I did not.
Sir,
hear that.
what was their color? They were great. They were also white, and of course the
little
dolphins
bit
are
of
looking
tint
at
of blue.
him like
No,
You
they're
look
trying
like
to draw
a
like a little
dolphin.
police sketch, but it's underwater, so it doesn't work.
yes. The funniest thing ever.
Now they're gonna cancel Dolphin Cops.
Man, your sweet JP looks sexy.
Oh, thank you.
He's so
It does
sexy.
look good.
Yeah, I have any of you seen Redline?
No.
Go watch it. It's
No.
amazing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hmm.
It's an anime.
No, we couldn't tell by the
Right.
art style.
What? It's an anime? Who would have thunk?
Mine keeps
Goddamn
disconnecting
weed.
me for some
I thought it was some kind of a reality thing, kind of like Tiger King. I thought it was kind of like I thought it was from there.
But yeah,
But
how do we end
I have
racism?
information.
Any thoughts?
Like sure we can acknowledge our differences, but
Yeah.
still like
I vote for a race war.
Aliens.
Yeah. We need money for the
okay,
war
George
economy.
Soros.
We unite against aliens. That'll stop that shit.
Honestly,
Yes.
it does, but yeah.
First, we dine all together. Like first we eat, and then we
right,
discuss our strategy on how to deal with aliens.
Well, big ass.
Ooh, can we like
Giant
a potluck or something?
vagina
Honestly, I feel like
space
if we
squirrel.
all came together and had just a potluck, things would actually turn out fine.
Oh yeah, hardcore, definitely. I notice. Yeah, like when you're talking with people, like it's better to kind of do it in meal settings, like having dinner or lunch or something somewhere. And
'Cause,
yeah.
potlucks, there's
We should
nobody
just
that can make
invite
potluck angry.
what's left of the KKK and all the black supremacists and stuff, and we're just like, here, let's have a feast. No weapons allowed, though.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like that-
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like-
Yeah,
it's like
the
that's-
weapons. Yeah, that has to be checked out. Like at the door, it's just like nope, you cannot have this, you cannot have that. Like no,
Yeah, it's
no
gonna be like
knives.
a
No.
cool check.
You know, we should do it. We should do
Oh,
it like a
definitely.
Feast of
We need to do a
Yule.
pat down.
It's like that. Shoot. It's like that South Park episode where Jimmy, tries to make his own gang called the Crips for the cripples, but he learns that there's already a gang called the Crips, and he joins them, and they're all like, "If you want to join the Crips, you gotta shoot some bloods." But then, instead, Jimmy just brings them all together, and he's all like, "I mean, just come on."
I wish I saw that episode now.
But no, I think it should be like you know how the Nordics used to have their Feast of Yule where they just got a giant tree and burnt it in the middle of a hall, and you had to stay in the hall until the tree's completely burnt down, and then you have lots of mead and lots of food. Just get all the races together on every side and just be like, here's some mead, fire.
Yes.
Although we're gonna keep you away from the fire just so you don't use it on each other. And
Yes, I'm all for that. Yeah, all the drinks and the food, a huge feast. Like
I'll
yes,
pretend to be a racist
bonfire.
so I can go, 'cause
Yes.
that sounds like fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
I am all for that.
It might work, but
Dude,
only
I would-
if you
I
serve
would totally
racist.
drop the N-word if it meant I got into a barbecue for free.
a barbecue that lasts
Listen,
days.
pretend to be racist versus bunch of free food. Come on. Free food wins out.
I'm about to say, I'm like, when food is free, like, that's when you grab everybody.
Also, I discovered I can't draw two things: dolphins and police hats.
Whoever's drawing mushrooms, though, is doing a great job.
Yes, I saw that too.
I can draw guns and I can draw my robot guy. That's about it. That's the extent of my drawing prowess.
Well, I don't really know how to do the software, so yeah, it's gonna be.
It's all
The
like
obvious
Gimp,
thing,
really.
someone's going
That's
for the
about it.
next best thing. If that's him.
Yeah, you know.
Mm.
I don't
Oh,
know.
I
I
wonder.
just keep seeing so much division on. I have a bunch of feminists and like SJWs on the Facebook because I'm cool like that.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And
Nice.
I keep seeing like pro Black Lives Matter things, but like the really extremist stuff, like cops are horrible
Mm-mm.
and like showing
Yeah.
showing pictures, being like, I'm married to a cop, but I still don't trust the police. Just you know,
Wow.
pictures like that.
Yeah, I've been,
Oh yeah, I remember reading about that. I'm like, I don't know about that.
yeah, I've been going on Twitter, and I keep seeing like people retweeting messages from like their family members saying, like, why on earth are you ignoring the bad things that Black Lives Matter is trying to accomplish? And they're basically just slandering them, saying, oh, you're just an absolute horrible person who does not like human decency or human rights whatsoever. You're horrible and racist and everything. Even though they're all like, I like all lives matter.
I don't know. What is your
It's-
guys' thoughts on the All Lives Matter thing?
Yeah.
No lives matter. Please kill each other.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Bruh. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, no, like, it's a no duh that, yes, all lives matter, but I will say in a lot of situations, some people don't see it that way. Like, where Black people don't matter as much to others. I can definitely see that. Which is, yeah, I know, unfortunate, but it happens. Let's see. But yeah, do all lives matter? Well, duh, like we're all humans. Oh yeah. Oh, I think, if I remember correctly, I think somebody said, "Oh, what about Hitler? Did his life matter?" I don't think anybody asked me that personally, but I'm like, yeah, we had to go and get the guy, and you know,
Well,
do with him
fairness-
accordingly.
well,
Hitler
technically,
did kill
Hitler
Hitler.
wasn't the first one who started any type of animal conservation, so
Huh?
He did something right.
Yeah, he had
There's
interesting
also the asphalt culture, and I can kind of get behind that.
his art style wasn't bad.
Oh yeah, actually a decent artist. I will give him that.
And I'm like, he was
The
Audubon's
which is
great.
quite surprising.
Like my choices, my life choices. Either I could murder all the Jews or live as an artist. I think I'm gonna murder all the Jews.
Yeah,
He was-
what an
he wasn't
interesting,
really
yeah.
allowed to be an artist because they kicked him out of school. And he was barely making ends meet as a
Mm.
as an unknown before he joined the Austrian army in World
Mhm.
War One, and then just
Mhm.
refused to fucking die.
Oh yeah, he did get injured during the war. That's right.
You know,
Like
let's
with
see,
his
he
leg,
was
I think.
he was hit with the brunt of a fucking mustard gas attack. He was blown up, I think. A sniper had him in his sights, and he chose to shoot another guy facing away from him. So that guy must have felt like a dick around World War II.
Wow.
How would you know that you
see,
were aiming
then there
at
was
Hitler
one
back
occasion
then?
where Hitler and another soldier just met each other on the field, then decided to just walk away and let each other live. So that guy must have also felt like a dick around World War II. Just the universe did not want Hitler to die.
Apparently not.
Like, what if
And
we
let's
find
not
out,
all
like,
forget.
What if we find out in hindsight, like someone goes back in time and kills Hitler? We find out that if Hitler didn't take over, someone even worse would, and Germany's like,
Hitler's the good option.
yeah, that would just be messed up, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's just like, wait, hang on, this happens instead? Oh my goodness.
I mean, the
Thank
real
God.
people to blame here are the fucking Serbs.
Oh, I also wanted to ask something else. What do you guys think of all the hatred towards the founding fathers right now?
Like with all the monuments and statues getting,
Well,
yeah,
not just-
yeeted.
Not just that, like, not even like like I know that for a while there people have been hating the Civil War stuff. But now they're even like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington were pieces of shit because they had slaves, and a lot of them had like.
Didn't Thomas Jefferson write that he would describe the slave trade as a hideous blot, and was actively trying to work against it some, and only used it since the only way to maintain money at his social caste was through slaves.
Well, one of the things that keeps getting brought up is I think her name was Sally, something like that. There's a he basically had like a black mistress slave where she lived in his house and he had like quite a few kids with her, and every kid he had with her he like freed, but she still stayed his slave for her whole life. And people were like, that's messed up, because when they got together and she first started popping out babies for him, she was like 14, and I'm like, at that time that she would have been classified a woman. Why are you judging the past from modern standards? And maybe she didn't want to be freed. Maybe she was his concubine. We don't know any of her opinions. Like, that's just, you know. That's
if he was freeing the kids, I'm pretty sure she would have been freed too if that was an option.
Well, I don't know. We really are not privy to his personal thoughts. But another thing is, I don't know if it's fair to. I don't know if it's fair to hold the zeitgeist of the past accountable for today. You know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. The culture was definitely different, and standards are different back then. Like, obviously, yeah, there are definitely things that would not pass today. But yeah, my thought was pretty much similar to yours. I'm like, whatchamacallit? Yeah, things were probably different. He probably couldn't free her, you know, without, like, some kind of a negative repercussion. Like, possibly, like, say he let him go, some crazy KKK people would have hunted her down or something. I don't know.
I think it was easier to free her children, because from what I understand back then, it was if you were more half black, you were more treated better by society. I don't know 100%. Just kind of speculation on my part.
Well, the feminist argument would be that marriage is slavery, so there is no way he could have.
Oh yeah. They think marriage is enslavement.
Well, I don't think he would have legally been able to marry her back then, because who knows?
Back then, no.
That's why he wasn't free. We don't know.
And some people, yeah, they would marry black people like in secret, you know, trying, you know, and doing their best to not, doing their best to not have their relationship like out in public, or else, you know, both of them would have been, you know, killed on the spot or something.
Lynched at best, disavowed by their communities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that whole thing with Thomas Jefferson, because I don't think anyone really knows. I don't know if we've recovered her diary or journal or anything, so I don't know why that whole thing's a big thing I've been seeing shared around.
You know.
How is everybody?
I can hear my echo.
Yeah, that's River.
Like, yeah, when I hear echoes and stuff, yeah, it completely messes my thinking, and I'm trying to remember, like, wait, what was the question that was asked?
Whether or not we know if what was going on was even shifty during that time, because we really don't know what happened with him.
Yeah, there are some things where it's, I just don't know, it's all up in the air, like, I mean, we don't know.
It was a different time, different era, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For whatever reason, though, the whole age thing being brought up reminded me of an article I read over where I think it was either Arkansas or Nebraska. Apparently, the legal age of consent was 7 years old until around the 90s.
Yeah, I'm just like, wait, isn't your age of consent like what, 13, if not younger? Since some states are like that.
I think there's certain states where age of consent is like 16 plus, but you can get married as young as like 12, but if you're married then you can consent. There's some weird like loophole laws like that.
I think you can get married with parental consent.
Yeah,
at like 12, but you still can't legally consummate it till whatever the age of consent is.
I know up
Unless
here
you-
at 16.
Okay.
Actually, I need to look into how that works if you're a emancipated minor. Because with emancipation, things get really fucking weird. Especially when you also go into considering things like drinking and smoking age.
Well, I would assume what he was doing at the time was wrong because it was a form of miscegenation, and that was frowned upon at the time.
What was?
He's race mixing. They didn't like that. Heck, Scott couldn't even marry an Irish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
right.
Japanese couldn't get with the Chinese.
I mean,
That's
Japanese
still
don't
true.
like it with the Chinese.
Well, race mixing back
no
then,
bigger than you think.
like, it was a little bit different back then when it came to slaves because they considered it a pro for the slave master to have children with one of the female slaves because they felt that added docileness to the gene pool. I know that's a really... Sorry, I talk about these things very matter of fact.
Where did you learn that?
Where
Like,
did I
I
learn that? I think it was like on a documentary I was watching. I could be wrong though.
Because I do know that slaves were forced to like have certain parents, like certain slaves to have kids with to make them grow like stronger, for yard work basically.
Super slaves.
They bred them like animals,
Right. But I know that I think it was something talking about house slaves because house slaves were typically part white. So how would you or is that just they were the accidental?
I'm actually not sure about that one. All I can think of is the forced breeding that they were.
Yeah, I thought that there was like forced breeding on all sides. That's what I could be mistaken though, because I don't have references.
It would have been a documentary, but I can't remember which documentary it was.
Yeah, I think I did see something on that. I think it was like, wasn't it that documentary that was talking about human migration and population? It was that one where they were talking about
Oh right, it would have been the documentary talking about the fact of how America would not have been built without the slaves.
No, not that one. No, it was the one where they were tracking the human migration.
That one could have talked about it as well.
Where they were talking about how a lot of, I think that was brought up because they said a lot of black people in America actually have part white to them because of the slave trade and whatnots. And there was a lot of forced rapes and things like that of female slaves back then.
But I do remember the one that was talking about the fact that America would not have been built without the slaves was also one on that topic. Of how whites were breeding with blacks just to try and pacify them.
Yeah. But maybe that wasn't thought of as the same thing as race mixing, because back then things were, I don't know.
Things were very different back then.
People are gonna hate me now. Like, talking about this at all, people are gonna just hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Looks like you're going to lose even more subscribers. One, because you're uploading. Two, because you're talking like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, talking openly and actually genuinely curious about other people's thoughts and opinions. Like, just having a nice chat with other people, and apparently that's enough to offend other people.
Yeah.
Dude, not even talking. Just standing there can offend people. Though, in fairness, I probably
True.
should stop wearing my offensive t-shirts.
Well, just talking about race right now is like the most offensive thing you can say.
True.
Well, I mean, I could be way more offensive if I wanted, but this is your stream, and I don't want YouTube getting on your ass.
That is fair. Don't want the YouTube algorithms or whatever to, like, you know.
Dude, algorithms, that'd go so harsh, we get the fucking CEO on our ass.
Let me tell you about some things that didn't happen.
Uh-oh. I know this dude is about to be spitting.
But Rev says he's having trouble getting into the call.
He got in time, but he just echoed like a motherfucker, so.
All right, I must have walked away on that. I just thought that should have been brought to your attention.
Ah.
Also, speaking of genocides, the ones that never come up is what the hell the Khmer Rouge did to babies.
Well,
Who?
I mean, I don't want to get too spicy. Just let me say it involved a tree.
I was wondering, like, wait, what was the person's name?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What was the person's name? I missed it.
Who couldn't get into the car? Or was committing the genocide?
Who was committing the genocide?
The Khmer Rouge.
Khmer Rouge. I don't know why, but it sounds a little familiar. I don't know.
I'm only thinking of Rouge from Sonic, that bat character.
Yeah, I
course
know who
you
you're thinking.
It was in Cambodia.
Degenerates.
I don't know if I actually heard about this one.
Oh yeah, it was the largest number of babies killed like ever.
Huh. And I'm just thinking of whatchamacallit. Kind of like Prince of Egypt, where all the Israeli boys were being slaughtered. So
Okay,
but there
that
was
one didn't happen.
But other than that, whatchamacallit. But yeah, the slaughtering of babies in
So you're saying
Cambodia.
a bunch of Israeli people weren't all slaughtered. You
Well,
know,
not
you
all of them,
been up a
obviously,
few,
no.
Few thousand years, and you may get into some hot water there.
Well, I always think it's weird that they bring up the number of the chosen people, but not the other 3 million people that were killed.
I don't
Well,
know
that's
what you're
because they
talking
didn't
about.
matter. Of course.
Me neither.
I'm not.
Oh, if I remember correctly, it's because some of the other people, they were doing some wicked stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, at least the gays and the disabled, etc.
What about the... Wait, what about the disabled?
Oh, the disabled were principally targeted during the Holocaust, and is one of the reasons why the Asperger's diagnosis was so difficult to acquire until recently.
Gotcha. Okay. Come on, brain. Well, I feel like the Holocaust, it almost kind of expanded, like, not just the Jews. Granted, yeah, they were the most targeted, but then there was, like, gays and gypsies and, yeah, handicap and who else? Besides, and, yeah, prisoners of wars as well.
And to a lesser extent, some communists.
They would have pretty much targeted anybody who wasn't classified an Aryan.
Well, now
It's true.
Now that's stuck in my head thanks to you. Now with this conversation, I'm thinking of that song from The
Yes!
And I'm thinking of, like, some of the other conversations that I have with my friends that are either, like, half or 1/4, you know, German, and they're just like, dude, my metabolism is slow. I hate this.
I
They're
don't know if
also
you guys
friends,
know
but-
the song we were thinking on.
Pink Floyd, have you heard of their famous song about, you know...
The pro-Trump song, "Build the
No.
Wall."
No. To fire the oven and to... Well,
to turn
turn on the
turn on the
showers.
showers and fire the ovens.
for the queens and the coons and the reds and the Jews.
I have not heard of that one.
Okay, so
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so if you listen throughout the album The Wall, there's a part where
He turns into a Nazi.
he turns into a neo-Nazi that's symbolic for, I guess, him being on drugs but being forced to go to a concert and stuff. But during the song he's singing, he's all like, take all these people, put them up against the wall. If it were up to me, I'd have you all shot, stuff like that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that one there song. Also, Tog, if you get yeeted over this, I apologize for bringing it.
No, it's alright. People are gonna hate me. I just now I'm just like quoting a terrible
I don't have to
song.
worry about being
Actually, I
canceled.
love
I
that
have
song.
no social media presence.
Yeah.
There's one
Hey, I-
spotlight. You don't look right to me.
But never use it. Follow
Oh,
if you want no updates.
Oh, I thought you had a YouTube channel.
Me.
I have YouTube, yeah. Just, again, never use it. I'm not even subscribed for it. I mean, once I eventually get around to it in a few years, maybe finishing my tabletop, I'll post videos about it.
Whatchamacallit, because your voice, it sounded familiar to somebody that I used to watch, like a long time ago.
He's got a sexy
Yeah,
voice,
I'm-
doesn't he? He should do YouTube videos.
I mean,
Whatever.
I've been actually writing and recording some shit. I can post the MP3s after this.
Because I will say, like, he kind of remind me of Easy on Me, if you ever heard of him.
Sounds
Oh,
familiar.
he does, doesn't he?
Yes, yes. Yeah, that YouTuber, yes. Whatever happened to him, we'll never know.
I don't know. In my opinion, like, yeah, he says something controversial, and then, of course, somebody's, gonna, have an issue with it, and then it's like, the name, like, oh, please on me. I'm like, really?
I mean, I've had, like, people pull knives on me before, so internet threats, they don't faze me.
I'm just kind of like, don't be surprised if people go after you, and like, if you're like, oh, go easy on me, going all Shane Dawson. I don't think it's gonna go well.
I'm not gonna go Shane Dawson. If people try and get up with me, I'll just be even worse to shock them.
No, whatchamacallit, because I'm like, you do these things, and then you're like, oh, please don't do this, I'm sensitive. I'm like,
Please.
I hate to say, either you shouldn't have done it in the first place, or,
Man, I don't know.
Sorry, Shane.
I served my time. I ain't afraid of nothing now. I kid. I've never been to prison, though a lot of my friends have.
Lovely.
The trick is to not get caught.
I was thinking of that, yeah. I'm like, dude, just don't get caught, and
I
booyah,
think
you're
we
fine.
finally derailed completely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why we
It's not
need
my
to
fault
abolish
they'll
the
never find
police.
bodies.
So I
And
remember
that's
you
why
talking-
down with the police.
I remember you talking about
Yes.
like they're saying that there were no Irish slaves or something like that. Like, did you want
Oh,
that?
oh
or-
yeah, that was kind of funny. Someone shared a thing saying that the Irish slave trade wasn't real, and I clicked on the link saying that the Irish slave trade wasn't real, and it said the first 30,000 servants that came to America to rebuild our, to basically build our infrastructure were from Ireland. However, the vast majority of them were indentured servants. Only around 1% of less than 1% of slaves were Irish. And I'm like, you're saying there's no Irish slaves in an
I was
article
gonna
that
say.
says that less than 1% of slaves were Irish. And I'm like, if there are 2 Irish slaves, there is Irish slaves.
Yeah.
The
Bruh.
thing is, people only read headlines.
You
Mm-hmm.
have to acknowledge the Irish as people first before you can
have
count them as
to?
slaves.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're like,
whatchamacallit.
less than 1% of slaves were Irish, therefore there was no Irish slaves. I'm like, what about those
I mean, going by
people?
that logic,
It's like you just
Finns
said
don't
that-
exist. 'Cause they make up less than 1% of the world's population.
Finland's not a real country. Don't be ridiculous. It's just part of Deutschland.
I just thought that was so funny in an article that was
And this
supposed
is how
to
we
disprove
discovered
Irish slaves.
Todd
They
had
they
a
flat out
very
say
large
There are Irish
subscribers.
slaves.
there are Irish slaves.
Can any of you say Irish wristwatch?
Irish wristwatch.
Irish wristwatch.
Irish rich watch.
Difficult.
Irish rich rush.
Joke's on you. I had to be in a fucking speech therapy so I can do this shit.
Bruh.
Joke's on you. I'm disabled.
Joke's on you, I went through speech therapy too.
Did anyone here not go through speech therapy?
I don't think so.
Bruh.
Because we all like doing shit with our mics, and from what I've seen, everybody who does who likes doing like voice shit has always had a speech impediment at some point.
Yeah,
I
at
just
some
had it
point.
where English wasn't my first language.
I don't know. Maybe it's like some sort of subconscious thing where once you're finally able to master talking, you want to share it with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if I know. I'm not a psychologist. I fucking hate them.
Oh,
Oh yeah, you
Well,
hate
it's-
everybody
There's
equally.
a channel I've been binge watching lately. Have you guys ever watched Dr. Grande? He's great.
Yes.
No, I haven't. I
seen
I
that.
haven't even heard about that name.
He doesn't really
What is
do
it?
my genre. Like, he doesn't do the same genre I do. He's actually like an actual smart person. I just pretend. Oh,
Hey, fake it till you make it, baby.
Yep,
I thought
there we
you
go.
were
Yep.
an evil clown.
I'm a Harlequin, not a clown.
Like let's say Harlequins and
I mean,
clowns are
Harlequins
different.
are, technically a type of very early clown, but still a clown.
Wait. All this time you've been an Eldar?
No.
Heresy.
We must purge the
Purge.
galaxy of that Xeno scum. Technically, I'd be Chaos because, Harlequin are demons.
I think he would rely more Slash than just Chaos Undivided.
Get the flamer.
I'm
Heavy
just-
flavors.
I'm just a half demon of death. I either just sit on the sidelines for the lulz, or I don't know, I just chill. Or
By the way,
rarely I
Finally,
do my
I've
job.
actually finally started watching If the Emperor Attends the Speech, and I'm regretting not starting it sooner.
Dude, I told you to start watching that like more than a month ago.
I think the stream needs to be shut down now because we are so off topic. Like, so off topic. Why does this always happen?
In my defense, I'm getting
Because we all have
hungry.
ADD.
How did I break
ADHD, get it right.
Yeah.
Fuck you, no.
Try Yoshi Kira yet.
Yeah, you're already like impressing everyone with your drawing skills. You're like showing off that you know how to use the drawing software better than me because you got like
I'm not showing off. I'm just having fun.
You're
you
showing
got like
off,
a super
goddammit.
professional looking thing over there, and I've got like a sketch, and everybody else has guns and mushrooms.
I mean, the guns and
wolves.
mushrooms are mostly me.
Is that a wolf or a fox?
It's
I'm
a
not
wolf,
sure, but I
technically.
haven't
I
done
messed
that
up with the
yet.
ears, I will say. It looks more fox-like than wolf-like, I will say.
That's alright.
Right.
Once the stream is over, I'm isolating Don't Shoot My Dog, and I'm turning that into a ringtone.
Oh, shit,
Oh.
my dog.
So how are y'all?
Uh,
Am I even coming through for anyone?
I think you cut in and out.
I can hear him okay.
You sound like that ghost that lives in my wall.
Oh, well done.
Are you making him pay rent?
You better
I'm
charge him
trying.
rent.
He pays.
Betsy,
it for
you
a
better
living.
charge him
Those
right.
can't exactly work.
He's claiming
They're all
rent
like
strike.
Oh, by the way, with what you were talking about Hitler earlier, yes, Hitler was injured during World War II. He was
Yeah,
actually.
I know. I went into detail about that. I think at one point
Yeah.
he actually was hospitalized,
Yeah, he was.
but it took a lot to get him there.
But yeah, he was actually the victim of a mustard gas attack, and it actually made him hysterically blind for about a week.
Wait, you can recover from blindness from the mustard gas?
Hysteria.
I mean,
Oh.
yeah.
It's
Huh.
it's a psychological condition.
Oh, so you're blind because, psychologically you're kind of messed up.
Yeah, like phantom pain or hysterical pregnancy or the pseudo tumor.
Oh.
It was actually, he actually didn't like talking about it because it was a sign of mental weakness.
Yeah, fair.
Should I just change the name of this stream to Black Lives Matter and then random talk about Hitler?
Okay.
Black Lives
Also-
Matter and
You
Hitler
won.
No, I'm
stream.
on a Hitler live.
And then there's
Timeline is Black Lives Matter, and we stayed on that for about an hour, which is impressive for us.
I'm like, hey, we
Then
stayed
we
on that
moved
for a
to
long
random
while.
stuff.
Yeah, I think
And
we
now
said
we're talking
everything there was
about
to say about it until like.
Well, let's be honest. What's more interesting, Black Lives Matter or
Or Hitler?
Do we know if Hitler was into scat? I've heard.
No,
Hmm.
I don't know about that, but I do know that Hitler had 3 balls.
No,
If-
I thought he had like one ball.
Yeah, I thought it was one, not.
I thought he had none.
Now, does
we
Black
seriously
Lives
devolving
Matter?
into a conversation on how many balls Hitler had? What is wrong with you degenerates?
Okay. If you want to talk about ball count, I can't tell you where I got this information from, but it is a trusted source. You guys know Todd Howard of Bethesda Studios, right?
Vaguely.
Yes.
I mean, you know of him. Okay. So, turns out that when he was a child, one of his testicles bursted.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Ow.
just like complete eruption. So, time to get it fucking removed. So, Todd Howard has 1 ball.
Oof. Like, he can still do stuff, but
Oh, yeah, he can
still,
still do
oof.
stuff. The fact that he has 1 ball.
It's just
Are you
like, ow.
saying?
Like, I've had a
Todd-
coworker like that before, where, when he was born, one of, I think, was it a hernia? Or, like, something was wrong with one of his, things, and it had to be removed. But he can still do stuff.
I was watching
But
a
anyways.
show called Sex Brought Me to the ER, and
Oh, I used to watch that.
yeah, and some guy had anal sex, got a UTI, and had one of his balls like rot off.
Oh!
gross.
That's awful. And disgusting. And awful.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I've heard of one situation where they got stuck. But
Did you read the article
can break dicks.
saying? Yes. Yes, you.
Yeah. Horrible. Basically, when they're red, if you bend them wrong and too fast, it pops the blood
Okay,
vessel.
we
and
are
has to be
beyond the point of
completely
no
removed.
return. I am going to stop the stream. I'm going to stop it.
stop! Right, it's time to stop! Time to
It's
stop,
to
okay?
stop.
But what if we cross the streams?
Okay, so these
Where
are my
are our
thoughts. I
parents?
hope you
Alright,
enjoyed.
everybody move on to my
Let me know
channel
what
for
you think in the
the
comments down
continuation
below,
of
and I
this
want
stream.
everyone to say goodbye. Say goodbye to all the